Hi folks, I'm John with Inspector Prime. In this tutorial, we'll cover how to create and manage your office records. This system was built within Inspector Prime so you can track every office interaction, inquiry, and general record you want to have a history of within your company's system. We'll see just how powerful this is in this tutorial. Okay, so let's dive into the Office Records interface and begin with the overview page. Fairly straightforward. We've got bookmarks for our dashboards and our listings. The first set of bookmarks covers your Office Records dashboard and your Office Records listing. That is your complete record dashboarding, complete record listing for all Office records, which includes all three of these types: entries, inquiries, and interactions. And we've got some general helper text here. We'll dive into first these two bookmarks, and then we'll go in and see how we can separate out the Office Records types and see our general business entries, our inquiries, which we consider to be potential leads, and our interactions. So any communications that we want to record with clients, agents, contractors, you name it, we can record as an interaction. So let's begin with our Office Records dashboard. Again, some key metrics here. We break out the total Office records by type first, as either entries, interactions, inquiries, and of course we've got our total records here. And we've created some pie charts to break down the distribution of those record types, their categories, the communication channels, priorities, and if it's an inquiry, the outcome of those inquiries. Let's go now and look at the Office Records listing. And again, this is all the sample records we've created for this sample company. No doubt, whatever records you create will be a lot more detailed. We'll have actual names, actual phone numbers, or emails with the folks you interact with and the things that you do. But these are just here as an example, of course, that you can see how you can track in granular detail everything your company does. So if you're a company owner or solo operator, you can record and gather essentially a history of all the action items that you've completed. You can track your inquiries, every interaction you've got, and general business actions you took as an entry. And so this creates a robust historical record that you can go back and take a look at and say, hey, what did we do this month? What did we do this week? What did we do this past quarter? Or even what did we do last year? And you can see the sorts of interactions you're having. You can see the sorts of notes, essentially, that you're taking as general entries into your system for your business. And you can see, of course, inquiries. Now, if we open up these records, we'll see an Office record detail page. Of course, we can name our entry, and we can fill out the profile. Fairly straightforward. Record the date, record the status, record the priority, categorize it as a type, whether it's an entry, an inquiry, a potential lead, or an interaction, a communication with somebody. Record the communication channels. If it's an inquiry, identify whether that lead panned out or not, whether it was booked or a follow-up was scheduled, if it's pending decision by the client or agent, whether no interest was shown afterwards, or if it's not applicable, if it's not an inquiry, you can place it in the NA category. And you can also add additional tags as you see fit. Now, you can also assign an employee to these records, and you can mark whether or not follow-up was required, the deadline for that follow-up, whether it was completed, and of course the date that follow-up was completed. Enter the details of the entry here, drop in any files or media for attachments, and of course link, if applicable, link these records to your clients or your agents, contractors, general contacts, link them to your jobs or services. And then when you click on those records that are linked to, you'll be able to see in those records all of the records you've got for that particular client or contact or job or service. Well, this is just more than just notes. These are linked records you're creating across your system. And you can go back and say, okay, hey, I've communicated with this client this many times. This is what I've communicated to them with. Same for your other contacts. And more important and more even granular is if you've got your jobs and you use these office records the way they're meant to be used, you can really create a written record for everything you do for jobs and services, how you interact with the client and agents, how you gather information, and how you feed that to your employees and vendors. So you could create entries for access instructions and link it to a job, link it to a service, and so on. So the sky's the limit with this, and you'll come up with creative ways to work this into your company's workflow. But I just wanted to show that real quick. And of course, we always have an ability to delete these records, but once it's in there, you generally want to keep this as a historical record. Now, this shows every single record type. When we get into these other interface pages, we'll see that these are really just meant to be able to allow you to drill down quickly instead of viewing all of these at once. You can really see what your entries look like, your inquiries, and your interactions. And we'll see here a basic entries dashboard, inquiries dashboard, and an interactions dashboard. Again, very simple. You'll no doubt modify this and make it fit your company's workflow, make it fit the metrics and the charts that you want to see. But let's go ahead and take a look at a common entry here. We can go in here, we can see we've only got 2 entries really, and 2 are closed. And this entry is, we damaged a client floor with a stepladder. Okay, that's important to record. We've got a follow-up, and we completed that follow-up. It was a high priority because we caused damage to a client's home. And hey, we scheduled a time to come over and repair the scratch. Now, what if I wanted to say how it was repaired? If I wanted to add additional notes, one, I can simply edit this. I can say, hey, to my supervisor, I can say, hey, repairs have been made, actions completed, and that's it. That's all I have to do there. I could also use the comment system here to do a similar thing. So you got many options with following up and really creating records that provide historical value. Okay. So that's just one general office entry that you can create for your company. We've also got inquiries. Let's take a look at an example inquiry. So we have an initial consultation with a first-time buyer here, and we can see we closed that entry. We completed follow-up on the deadline required. It was a general inquiry, and we still have a follow-up scheduled for that client. We linked that client, Wilson Fisk, to this record. So now, whenever we open that client's record, we can see in detail what interactions we've had with that client. If he later on creates a job, we can create that job, the booking form, and link the job to this as well, creating a historical record for the job and the client itself. Really not much to this. Not many more details to go through here, but let's take a look at the interactions. Hey, met with agent to discuss mold testing contract. We've got a client question here. We've got call regarding water damage follow-up, follow-up on a roof issue, so on and so forth. So you can really see how you can track and manage interactions, inquiries, and entries throughout your company that allows you to get insight into what your team is up to, what your operations look like, and how you're tracking the follow-up, how you're prioritizing things, whether or not you're closing those interactions or those entries in a timely manner. And of course, you can tag things as well. This gives you historical data to work with. And it's another way you can track KPIs and metrics and performance with Inspector Prime. So that covers the Office Records tutorial. It's quick, down and dirty, but essentially this is meant to really record a lot of your operational history for your company and categorize those by types, and manage those in depth, and give your team a method of capturing exactly what they're doing on a day-to-day basis. Thanks for joining me.